All right.
Hello and welcome to Underlords Universe. And here at the Underlords Universe, we like to chit chat about stuff that inspires us to make our own creations. And we'll chit chat a little bit about that at the very end. But if you stumbled across this particular episode, this is my colleague and brother Brent, and he and I have been doing a little series on the Kiss records because Kiss has been a lifelong influence for us. And what we did is we divided up the Kiss catalog into little chunks of time, and we are discussing them and rating them and ranking them based on our own ranking system. And Brent, tell me if I get this wrong or if I make a mistake in explaining this, but our basic system is we give each song up to 5 points, and then we divide the total number of points by the total number possible for an average score. And the reason we do that is because we kind of want to, I mean, it's no system's perfect, we admit that. But what we're trying to do is create some sort of objective measure so that occasionally a score on an album comes in higher or lower than we might have expected going in. I don't know. Is that a fair way to put it, Brent?
I think that's a great way to put it.
Okay. So this particular episode follows Kiss in what we're calling kind of a transitional period. Kiss, obviously, if you're a Kiss fan, you know this stuff. Kiss went through a real transitional period when Peter was leaving the band in around 79, 80, and doing Dynasty, and then Unmasked, Music from the Elder, Creatures of the Night. In just a few years, they just do a real quick succession of different kinds of albums. And I think kind of in the late 80s, early 90s, you get that same type of thing. So we're calling this the second kind of transitional period. They're moving away from their kind of early to mid metal, or early to mid 80s metal era, and you get Crazy Nights, which of course is a lot more poppy. You get more of a rock and roll kind of almost bluesy elements there. Then they're back to, oh, we're tough guys again, and we're doing this revenge thing because they gotta, I don't know, get revenge on something. And then of course Carnival of Souls, which is really experimental in a certain respect, or you could say they're just trying to follow trends. Either way, they're going through a lot of different kind of permutations in this period. So these are the four albums we're going to be hitting here today, and at the end we're going to do a kind of a countdown ranking of 4, 3, 2, 1 of these four particular albums. So Brett, I got a bunch of notes here, and I'm curious to know what you think, because oftentimes you and I agree on stuff, and then other times we're like total opposites on some of the stuff, which is what I think is kind of fun about this. So, Crazy Nights, I'll start us off on Crazy Nights. This is released in, I don't remember what month, you probably remember. It's 87.
September.
What was it?
September.
Okay. September of 87. Uh, I saw that my second Kiss show was on this tour, which was December of 87. So only a few months later. Would have been in middle school at the time.
I believe
And
it was December 4th, if I'm not mistaken, Brian. I think it was December 4th, maybe.
that's right. Yep, in Des Moines. And my first edition of Crazy Nights was actually a picture disc, which I should have dug out. I've got it in the back room, but at any rate, when it came out, I was like, it's a Kiss record. I'm in middle school. Kiss puts out a record. I like it. Like, I don't even have to listen to it. I know I like it because it's Kiss. I'm gonna like a Kiss
Right.
record. Um, I don't hate it. I mean, there's stuff about this album that I'm okay with. It's interesting to decades later look back on an album like this that I still remember when it came out, and I still remember my feelings about it when it came out. And to see how my feelings have changed in certain ways and whatnot. But as we've done with previous albums, we kind of hit like highs and lows. With the Kiss stuff, you and I, we tend to pretty much talk about every single song. We don't necessarily do them in order, but I know my highs and lows on this record, but I'm going to ask you, what are your highs and lows? I'm curious to see if your highs and lows are the same as mine. And so I'll just turn it over to you for your initial take.
My Yeah, okay. And so initial impression, well, let's just talk about the production on this record.
Okay, so you like the big picture overall here, then. Okay.
Let's make a couple of comments about the overall, like the overall album, my reaction to it. Like you, when the album comes out, again, it's a new album from Kiss. We're gonna get it, we're gonna like it. I like this record. I don't dislike it. It's not one of my favorite Kiss albums.
Yeah.
I think the production's a little on the light side. It's brittle, it's bright. It doesn't have a lot of low end, so therefore it doesn't have a whole lot of heaviness. I think if this were produced, given the production that maybe Animalize or Asylum had, a little bit of a heavier production quality, I might like the record a little bit more. But as you mentioned when you were going through the intro, it's kind of a pop metal record.
Yeah, and it's got a lot. I mean, the keyboards are dominant. Ron Nevison produced it, and he goes all the way back as an engineer to the Zeppelin days, but he was, in the 80s, he was really prominent with, gosh, he did Heart, he did Ozzy's,
Yeah, he did Ultimate Sin.
the Ultimate Sin, right? And so, he had a track record of hits in the 80s, and I think Kiss was just trying, to reach for that. It's kind of a,
Well, yeah, I think they were chasing that. And I think that's because there were like what four videos off this record, 3 or 4 singles and videos off this record, and you got Paul doing really Paul's vocal range really expands on this record, like on songs like My Way,
yeah,
and songs like When Your Walls Come Down, and so overall, like we said, poppy production, not really very heavy record, very slick, polished, but that's
yeah.
kind of representative of the time, the mid '80s, '87 in this case. Um,
And
my
that can I say something about that?
Yeah,
That doesn't bother me. I mean, I like it when bands sound a little different from album to album because they're different studios, different producers, whatever. That's fine. And while it's not the Kiss record that I would say is the best sounding for the production that they were going for. I think it's good, but to me it's the songs, by and large, that kind of bring this record down a little bit in a certain respect. So we kind of agree. Obviously, it's a polished keyboard kind of driven album, which is for a rock band that for a guitar driven rock band that's a little bit of a downer on the production side, but it's done reasonably well, I think.
it's
But
executed, and for them, this was really the first time they kind of veered in that direction with keyboards, with the songs this much
yeah,
awash.
it's
You have
and you mentioned Paul's vocal on this too. That makes me think, because in the previous episode when we did Lick It Up, Animalize, and Asylum, I was saying how, in my opinion, Gene's vocals on Lick It Up, or from start to finish, his vocals on that album are just too one note. It's just, I get a little ear fatigue by the end of that album just from Gene's lack of variance in his vocal style. And Paul on this album, um, it's like helium Stanley, you know, and that's a little much at times, you know. I mean, if I'm in the right mood, it's okay, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, ouch, man, yikes, dial that back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he turns in a really good vocal performance, across the board. Obviously, songs like "Reason to Live"
Mm-hmm.
really showcase his voice
Yeah,
in a really good way. But as you said, there's some he's kind of really reaching for those upper registers,
yeah.
and he hits them, but it's a little it is a little fatiguing on the ears as well. So
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
What?
But kind of getting back to your initial question,
Yeah. Yeah.
favorite song on this record, my favorite song is "Thief in the Night."
Mm-hmm.
By quite a, I give it a 4. I don't have anything higher than that on this record. That's my favorite track. Everything else is a 3 or a 3.5. So I really don't have low points on the record. I'll mention a couple other 3.5 star songs for me.
Okay.
I do like the title track. I
Okay.
like Reason to Live. I really like Good Girl Gone Bad. I gave all those 3.5s. Everything else on the record, I gave a 3. So this is a record that I think is consistent. It's just not consistently great.
Mm.
And to your point, it's the songs. It's about the songs. You hear some people say during this period, Gene's songs are phoned in. Gene didn't really put a lot into his songs. I don't know that I really agree with that. I like a lot of what Gene was doing during this period. Case in point, Thief in the Night, Good Girl Gone Bad. Um, I think those are really good songs. No, No, No is a really good showcase of Bruce's playing ability. That's a good song. So I think Gene's work is pretty good, and in this case, on this record, I think "Thief of the Night" is the best song.
Okay, so here's some areas where we agree, some areas where we disagree. And
Okay.
just to start with Gene's songs. First of all, we agree that "Thief in the Night" is the best song on the record. And it's worth noting that it was also previously recorded before this by Wendy O. Williams. And if anybody's ever heard the Wendy O. Williams version, it's a matter of taste. I mean, I prefer the Kiss version of the song, but yeah, there's actually another version out there by Wendy O. Williams. I agree, it's the best song on the album. The thing about Gene's songs on this album, going back to commenting on Gene's voice, I think Gene's vocals are underappreciated maybe on this record. You mentioned Good Girl Gone Bad. I think that's a great vocal from Gene. When he does that kind of, lower register, kind of clean vocal, I think he sounds great. I love his voice in that area. That's not to say I'm not, I don't love it when he's doing stuff like Killer, on Creatures of the Night. He sounds fantastic on that too, or War Machine. But those songs are more guttural. The songs that are on on a lot of the songs on Lick It Up, it's more screamy. And
Mm-hmm.
here with songs like Hell or High Water, and especially Good Girl Gone Bad, there's a mellowness, a chill to his voice, which I really like. And I like those songs quite a lot. I actually gave Good Girl Gone Bad a 4, and I gave Reason to Live a 4. I think Reason to Live, yeah, it's a power ballad and it's a bit, sappy or whatever. But I think I like the twist on it. When you are, you're a teenager, you're a young person, you're going through all these hormonal changes and stuff, and you fall in love with somebody, and it's like, if it falls apart, it's like the end of the world, and it's like, and here's Paul kind of saying, dude, no, I mean, bigger picture here. And I just kind of, I just like that twist on it myself. I think it's a good message. And it's a song that kind of, it's of its time period. If I'm not really in the mood for an 80s kind of sappy ballad, I'm not going to listen to it. But when I am in the mood for it, it works. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my favorite songs on the record. And where we disagree is the title track. I mean, to me, it's just, I don't mind it. I can listen to it. I gave it 2.5 stars. It's just real middle of the road to me. All the other songs on the record, I gave either 3. I gave a 3.5 to Hell or High Water. I think it's, another good vocal from Gene. But there are, there's a moment here on this record, a couple of moments on this record that are just cringy to me, though.
Let me
And
guess one.
yeah.
One of
Oh, so guess. Take a guess.
one of them is going to be "Bang Bang You."
That song is stupid. I gave that a 1.5 star.
I give it 3. I gave it a 3. I've always liked it. I like it live. The lyrically, it's absolutely ridiculous, but there's something catchy about that song. But I knew you would. I knew you would find it cringeworthy, so that was an easy pick off. So that I knew that one.
Here's the fun, and this is one of those songs where when we were kids, I knew it was stupid, and I kind of liked it. And now I know it's stupid, but I just don't really like it. And I mean, it's like, when in the bridge part 1, 2, 3, 4, when midnight comes, I'll be at your door. It's like that's lame. I mean, that is just lame.
It's like
It's
something that's, yeah, yeah.
so
No,
bad. But you know, and here's the other part. And the song No No No,
mm,
which I actually gave a 3 to because as a song, I think it's kind of interesting. It's different. I mean, um in the choruses, there's that kind of descending guitar chord pattern is just kind of different. And I like that. I think Bruce's guitar playing, the soloing in the beginning is great with Eric, underneath. So I like the song, No No No, but the lyrics are terrible and to the point of just misogynistic. I mean, the line that really sticks out that I cringe every time I hear it is what's mine is mine and yours is mine. And it's like, dude, no. Sorry, that's not the way it works. Sorry. I think it's like, ooh, I wrote a clever line. It's not clever, it's just stupid. And it's insulting. But you know what? It's Kiss in 1987. So I mean, what do you expect, right? So I still give the song a 3 because I actually like the arrangement of it and whatnot. But um, yeah. So those are my low points and the high points. I think there's some interesting uh, things to kind of point out about the title track, though. Um,
sure,
Crazy Crazy
sure.
Nights. So Paul and Adam Mitchell wrote that, and that's the same writing duo that wrote Creatures of the Night, Keep Me Coming, and Danger. And
Yeah,
it's like when Creatures of the Night came out, and you listen to those songs, you'd be like, if you could just say, hey, in a few years, this same writing team is going to do Crazy Crazy Nights.
yeah.
Like
You wouldn't think that.
you would not think that. No, no.
And Crazy Crazy Nights is a really big hit. What, in the UK, correct?
Yeah, in the UK it was a big hit. Yeah, not quite as much here in the States, but yeah. So I mean, as a Kiss fan, it's there's no Kiss album that I hate straight through. Every Kiss album I think has some merit to it in some respect. It's not necessarily a go-to record for me. It's a bit of a nostalgia record. It's kind of like when I'm feeling a little nostalgic, I might reach for it and throw it on. And when I do, I enjoy it. So,
Well, yeah, and the show that you went to on the tour, you got to meet you met Eric and Paul.
I did. As a matter of fact, that you mentioned that, I've got the pass for that right here.
You got your picture taken with Eric. You got your picture taken with Paul. I think you saw Gene.
There's me and Eric,
Yep.
and there's me and Paul right there. Yep. So
And
yeah, it does bring back a lot of memories and nostalgia for that reason. And so yeah, as does the next album.
well, one last thing.
Yeah,
Well, I just want to say, you mentioned Eric earlier. I think Eric plays his ass off. Can I say that? Ass off.
yeah.
He plays his ass off on this record. This is a really good Eric Carr performance on this record. Not that he doesn't play good on all these records, but he really does shine on a lot of these songs. Like you mentioned, No, 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 the intro.
Hmm.
And live on this tour, his playing was really top notch. So I really think tip of the hat, even though I'm not wearing one, I don't wear hats, but tip of the hat to Eric on this record. I think he really did. Bruce and Eric really played well on this record, really,
Yeah,
really well.
yeah. If you just consider it from a playing standpoint, I think that's a really really good observation. And that also does help segue into Hot in the Shade because Eric actually did not play drums on every single song on Hot in the Shade.
That's
So,
good. That's a
um,
good. Let's move into Hot in the
so,
Shade.
so yeah, so Hot in the Shade, released in 1990. By this time, I had hit high school.
October of '89, Brian.
What did I say?
October of '89.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah,
My
yeah,
first,
yeah.
my,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We saw them in Des Moines and Cedar Rapids in spring of '90. But you're right. It came out in '89, fall of
my,
'89.
my freshman year of college. Yep.
Yes, and so from a nostalgia standpoint, this album actually means it works for me a little bit too because you were out of the house.
I was.
You were gone. And I had moved up to the high school, but we were also still obviously in touch all the time because we played in the same band together.
Right.
And so you know, when I think of this record, a lot of those memories kind of come back. But um, so this album is oftentimes described as a like an album that was created out of demos, which is in large part true. They did not, you know, they used kind of a smaller studio. They just kind of finished off a bunch of demos that they had been working on and called it an album. They self-produced it. You know, you started off by talking about the production quality on Crazy Nights. What about
Mhm.
what's your impression of the overall production, the sound, the sonics of Hot in the Shade before we get into the specific songs on that?
Overall, it's underproduced, I think, probably intentionally. I think, in kind of contrast to what they did with Crazy Nights, I think they consciously decided to give Hot in the Shade a little bit of a drier, flat production. And
Mhm.
those are those words I would use. It's dry and it's kind of flat. Uh,
Is that to its detriment?
Not necessarily. It's not my biggest problem with this record is not really the production. I think it's the songs. Um,
Really?
I
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and
You
and speaking of that, there are a lot of songs on this record. There's more songs on this record than any other Kiss records. It's what, 15?
15.
There,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
yeah.
lot of songs. I think the production's okay. I think they got what they were going for. Like you said, it's self-produced. I think they just kind of said, let's just make a balls to the wall rock album. You know, let's make a, like you said, maybe even a bit of a blues rock album. They
Yeah.
did it. Um, you know,
It's like a back to roots kind of thing, you know?
and even the tour for this was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The show was great. The tour was great. The record, in my view, not so much, but it's not because of the production. It's really because of the songs. But would you agree that it's kind of dry, flat in terms of the guitar sound and the guitar's prominence in the mixes and so forth, even the vocals?
I know why you're saying that, but I the word that I would use is warm. To me, it just sounds warm and mid-rangey. To me, it sounds uh like Les
It's
Paul.
very mid-rangey.
Yeah, it just sounds like Les Paul's into a good Marshall, you know, but without cranking the
You know, a
gain
lot of
too high. And I like that. It doesn't have the gloss and the sheen that Crazy Nights does, but I actually think that that's a plus. And I'm going to come back to that in a certain respect once we get to Revenge in a certain way. But so yeah, now and also some of these tunes. I don't have any specifics in my notes on. I think there might be a tune in here that's actually a drum machine, but what we can say for certain is that Kevin Valentine he played drums on You Love Me to Hate You, and I think it's just that song. Yeah. Kevin Valentine played drums on You Love Me to Hate You. And you know, might say, well, why? I mean, Eric Carr can play drums. It very well might have been, we don't know for certain, but it very well might have been the fact that it was a demo and the drums were fine. And it's like, hey, we're just gonna finish off the demo. It's done.
yeah.
And Kevin might have been just the guy around when Paul did the demo or whatever. I don't know the details on that, um, but to that point, you know, Little Caesar, the song that Eric's, you know, when he finally gets this lead vocal on an original song, obviously he'd done a version of Beth on Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, but he does, you know, Little Caesar here. That's a demo. It's all Eric and Bruce, except for Gene and Paul do some vocals, you know, in the choruses. But um, if you ever, I think it's on Eric's the Unfinished Business, the original demo with Eric's original lead vocal on it. And it's not, the vocal's not as good and the lyric is not as good, but the music's identical because it is the demo that was just finished off. They just went back in, changed the lyrics, redid the vocals, and you get Little Caesar. So it is an album of demos, but I think it just sounds like a warm rock record. And I'm okay with the sound of it. But you said the songs are the weak point. So let me ask you, okay, what's the lowest rating you gave a song on this record?
I gave one song on this record a 0.
You gave a song on this album a 0.
did.
Okay.
And I bet you can figure
Only one? Only one?
only one. Well, yeah, I gave another one a 2, but I
Okay.
bet you can guess which one I gave a 0 to, and you can probably guess which one I gave a 2 to.
Honestly, I'm stumped about the two, I think, but I'm gonna say Read My Body is the 0.
You are correct.
Well, okay.
Oh,
So
that is
let's start with the low points then here, because that's the lowest rated song here for me as well. I gave it a 1.5, not a 0, because to me a 0 is that is a and that we all kind of look at our ratings, in our own way. If we went to a Kiss show and they played that live, I would not walk out in protest. I'd probably laugh.
I'd laugh.
And to me a 0 is I don't ever want to hear that. I actually do want to hear this every once in a while because it's funny. And it's funny because it sucks. And it's funny because it's such a pathetic attempt to kind of like ride the pour some sugar on me train. And it's like, oh God, please. And that cowbell at the beginning.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. It's just, yeah, there's nothing redeeming about this track. It's cringeworthy. The lyrics are stupid. The riff, like you said, it rips off Def Leppard.
Hmm.
The that that the cowbell or whatever the percussion that they throw in with the
Yeah.
drums
Yeah.
is stupid.
So
Paul's vocal, the way he delivers the vocal. Do you want to know how good he can get? How far he can go? That is so awful. It's just like, initially I
yeah.
think it's the one. I'm like, no, I can't give it a 1. I crossed it off and I put 0.
Well,
I had
see, but okay, here's actually the funny thing. In a certain way, we agree because
we
it's so. But see, to me, I'm like, that's I laugh, and it's like, well, I'm getting some sort of entertainment value out of this.
you say, look, they're gonna play this live and Gene's gonna act real tough doing backing vocals on the choruses. I'm like, yeah, I'm down for that. I'm all for it, man. But on
But
this record, I can't
but
handle it.
but it's not a good song.
It's
I gave that a 1.5. You gave it a 0. But you said okay. Oh, and also, by the way, that song was co-written with Bob Halligan Jr.
Who has written songs with Judas Priest?
And Blister Cult. I mean, he co-wrote Rise to It. Also, he
Which
co-wrote Rise to It. And
I
and you mentioned Priest. He co-wrote like Some Heads Are Gonna Roll. Um, for
think he
Blister Cult, he wrote Beat 'Em Up and Make Rock Not War.
also wrote
And
Take for Judas Priest.
what?
Take These Chains.
And
I think that's
take these change, right? And also Rob Halford's Resurrection album, the song Twist.
it's not that.
And I got to be honest with you, whether it's Priest, Bloister Cult, Rob Halford solo, Kiss, I'm not really, I'm not feeling, I'm not feeling
Halligan.
the love for Bob Halligan Jr. songs. I'm just
Yeah.
not. So I'm gonna guess is the song that's a 2, is it Rise to It?
Nope.
Okay, I don't know. You got me. Oh, whoa, no, I know. It's Boomerang.
It's Boomerang. Yep.
Okay, well, you know what? I gave it a 2.5. I gave it a two and
Okay.
a half. It's a holdover actually from Crazy Nights. Did you know that?
No, and I can see why, and they should have kept holding it out a little bit longer. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm
Well,
one of those people that says, "Oh, the record would have been better." It's no, put it on there. Put it all on there. I don't mind. It's just it dragged the average down a little bit because it's only a 2. It's kind of it's a sloppy song. It's not that. There's really no riff that I can latch onto. There's nothing
yeah.
about vocal that really grabs me. There's just nothing about it. It's just kind of a all
Yeah.
right.
I get what you're saying. I don't disagree. It has actually grown on me a little bit just because it's so different. And it's like, well, that's really different for Kiss. That Bruce's guitar work kind of in the verses and stuff. I agree with you. It's not like it's a riff that you latch onto, but it's like, yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's great, but it's kind of interesting to me. So I give it a 2.5. But
We're
um,
close.
so those we actually kind of agree on a couple of the low points. I also gave
I've got a couple low points, Brian. But go ahead and tell me what you're going to say, and then I got a couple more low points I'll deliver
I'm gonna
for you.
try to kill a gnat here if it lands again. If you see me smack the table, I'm killing a gnat. I also gave 2.5 to Rise to It
I give
because
that. I just gave that a 3.
Okay. So, again, it's a dumb lyric. It's just a blues rock song. It's just not terribly interesting. It's like, oh, okay, there you go. I think there's way better on this record, but so
Well, I gave a 2.5 to Love's a Slap in the Face.
whoa, okay.
Two
You
and a half.
really?
And I give a 2.5 to You Love Me to Hate You. I cannot
Okay.
handle Paul's vocal in the chorus. You talk about a helium
Yeah.
vocal,
Yep.
handle it. And I don't like the verses and You Love Me to Hate. Speaking, why did I give it a 2.5? I should have given it less. I really don't like a whole lot about that song.
I,
I think the verses are kind of stupid. I think the pre-chorus is stupid. The
mhm.
the kind of it strains my ears, and Love's a slap in the face with that na 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 na. I
Okay.
just
Let's just
can't
just
handle.
wait,
I can't.
just cool your jets, man. We'll take one of these songs at a time.
All right, hey,
So You Love Me to Hate You. I disagree, or excuse me, I agree pretty much with everything you said. I gave it a 2.5. I
okay.
can listen to it. It's I actually like the pre-chorus, but I don't like the chorus itself. And I think that the verses are cheesy.
Mundane.
It sounds like Paul trying to do something a little different, and that's okay. It doesn't hit the mark. I think it's a weak song.
The
Um,
cat on the roof. I'll tell you.
I disagree with you though about Love's a Slap in the Face. I disagree with you about that. I gave that a 3.5 star. The na na. Here's my note. Na 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 is lame, but doesn't bother me. So I
Okay.
understand what you're saying, but I actually like the song. It's just kind of this laid back, you know, song, and it just it for some reason it works. I like it. I don't think it's the greatest thing that they ever did. It's not the best thing on the record, certainly, but I actually like the song. I give it a 3.5, and it was co-written with Vinny Poncia, who, by the way, has more co-writes on this album than anybody. He co-wrote 5 tracks on this record. And for those of you who don't know the name Vinny Poncia, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is that how you pronounce his name? Poncia? He produced Peter Criss's solo album. He produced Dynasty, and he produced Unmasked. And then he's back here as a co-writer on several of these songs. But yeah. So okay, how about this? I'm gonna tell you, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 5.5 star songs on this record.
4.5 stars.
Say what?
4.5. You meant not 5.5.
Did I say 5.5?
Yeah, you
Oh,
did.
okay.
Unless you
You are
yours.
correct. You're correct. I have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have 4 4.5 star songs on this record, and another one that I gave a 4 to. But honestly, I could see myself giving that one a 4.5 as well. Not quite the 5, not quite the
Yeah.
5. But I actually think there's a good third of this record is actually really, 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 really good. Like really good.
Well, you lay those
Once
on me, and then
you
I'll give you
you
my high points.
you say what?
You lay those on me, and then I'll give you
Well,
my high points.
I was gonna see if you could predict
Oh,
what
okay.
the four that I have as 4.5 stars are.
One of them is going to be Cadillac Dreams.
Correct.
One is going to be Prisoner of Love.
No.
Silver Spoon.
No, but close. That's the one that I gave a 4 to, but I could have given that a 4.5.
Little Caesar.
Yes.
Forever.
No.
Okay. I'm out then. I guess those have been my guess. So I
Some
got I got half of them right. I got about half.
somewhere between heaven and hell, and the street giveth and the street taketh away.
Street Giveth. Yeah, I should have thought about that. Okay.
Yeah. So let's just talk about some of these high points. First of all, because I have actually a few high points there. I just want to roll through them and ask what your score is as they compare to it. I'm going to throw Silver Spoon in there, even though I gave it a 4, not a 4.5. I gave Silver Spoon a 4. What did you give it?
I gave it a 3.
A 3? Okay. That also is a Vinny Poncia co-write. I love it. I love that song. I love the Sisters of Mercy background vocals that come in at the end. I think that just lifts it, and it's like a little bit of a different kind of vibe on a Kiss record. But you said you gave it a what, a three? Three? Okay. I'd given it a four. I could have gone 4.5, but and how about Cadillac Dreams?
I give that a 3.5.
3.5. See, I gave that a 4.5. Again,
And I
I
probably could have given it a 4.
that's another Gene song where, he's just singing, kind of like in Good Girl Gone Bad on Crazy Nights. And it's like I just really like Gene when he's just singing a song. And I love the horn section that kicks in at the end of that, which, by the way, Paul arranged the horn section on Cadillac Dreams, and Gene actually plays the rhythm guitar.
I love Gene's vocal on the little bridge in that song.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great. I really, that's one of my favorite songs on the record. Always has been.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about Street Giveth and the Street Taketh Away?
Again, I gave that 3.5. That's one of the higher rating songs on the album.
It's actually interesting. We actually seem to be agreeing on what are the higher rating songs. I guess it's just a matter of a degree of like the degree to which, so you gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 4.5. I actually love that song, and it is the first appearance of Tommy Thayer on a Kiss record because he played the acoustic intro. Well, there's actually not just the intro. There's acoustic guitar through that whole song, really. But he co-wrote it, and so I always really liked that song. And how about Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell?
I give that a 3.
Okay. So you mean that was a 4.5. So there's a really
There's the difference.
There's a difference there. For some reason, I always felt like Street Giveth and Street Taketh Away and Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell were almost like, if you listen to those two back to back, I mean, assuming you like the songs, I like those songs. So if you listen to those back to back, if you take You Love Me to Hate You out of the sequence, those two Gene songs actually work better back to back without that Paul song in between. Not that I'm complaining, I'm just talking about the sequencing here. And then, of course, Little Caesar, which I gave a 4.5 to, and you gave
But a 4, and that's my favorite song on the album.
Okay, 4. The thing about Little Caesar I don't like is the bridge. If you don't believe in the books and rules,
that's kind of cheesy.
It's pretty cheese. I mean, it's like, okay, what books do I not believe in? I don't know, Jurassic Park. I don't believe in this book. What rules do I not believe in? Like what? I don't know, traffic signs. Like it's just it's a stupid lyric, and so I kind of giggle at that part. But despite that little bit being a tad goofy, I think it's got a great chorus. I love the fact that Eric finally got a lead vocal. I think he should have done a lead vocal on Young and Wasted on Lick It Up, considering he sang it live anyway. But at least we got that before he passed away. So
it's got a great riff. I like the riff in it, and backing vocals are really good. It showcased.
It was inspired by "Ain't That Peculiar" by Marvin Gaye.
If I did know that, I forgot.
Yeah,
but that's a good
song. Yeah.
But question for
yeah. Oh, by the way, sorry, I misspoke. Tommy Thayer also did acoustic guitar on "Betrayed." So,
which is I prefer Street Giveth over Betrayed, but
I agree. I gave Betrayed a 3. What do you give Betrayed?
3.
Okay, yeah.
So Ace put out Trouble Walking.
Yeah.
Same year, and he also did Hide Your Heart. So which version of Hide Your Heart do you like better, Ace's or Kisses?
I was thinking about this a few months ago because I, was going through these and rating them a few months ago, and I also did all the post Kiss Ace albums. I don't know. I probably whichever one I'm listening to at the time. That said, if I was forced to pick one, I might actually say Aces.
I like Kisses better.
Do you? I see. I don't. I really have to just really sit down and just listen to them back to back and really zero in on what I'm hearing in those recordings. But it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you to close out this part on Hot in the Shade about the songs that were the singles. I mean, we already addressed Rise to it a little bit, but Hide Your Heart, like you say, Ace's version of it came out within what was the same month that
month,
yeah, that came out within like a week or two.
right?
Trouble Walking came out. And but Robin Beck, Molly Hatchet, they also did it. It first appeared actually on a Bonnie Tyler album before Kiss's version.
Mm-hmm.
Co-written with Desmond Child and Holly Knight. And by the way, I think Holly Knight did the keyboards on Shandy.
Yes, that's correct.
So long-standing connection between Kiss and Holly Knight as well. But it's okay. It's okay as a song. I gave it a 3. It's like it's not bad. It's okay. I think as far as the singles go, just trying to be objective, I think Forever is actually the best single, and that's largely due to Bruce's guitar solo. I think it's one of Bruce's best guitar solos on the record. Maybe
That's
even,
why,
yeah.
why I gave it a 3.5. I think it's one of the best solos he's ever recorded.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. So, yeah, but um, it's not as hi-fi sounding as an album like Revenge. It's you could say it's cobbled together from demos or whatever, but I actually think that there's some redeeming stuff on Hot in the Shade. Obviously there's some low points on it. Oh, King of Hearts, there's another song that's a bit of a, I don't know, it's okay.
Yeah, the pre-chorus gets on my nerves.
On King of Hearts. Oh, that is also another song Kevin Valentine plays drums. So Kevin Valentine plays drums on King of Hearts and You Love Me to Hate You. So, so of the 15 songs, at least 13 Eric Carr played on. So, yeah. At any rate, I do kind of, my last thought on Hot in the Shade is, you and I, was it a year ago? Going on a year ago, we went to St. Charles, Illinois, to see Glenn Hughes, and we talked about this album on the drive back, and I was kind of surprised. I don't think I realized how much you kind of dislike the record. So I'll be interested in seeing how it ranks in this bunch of 4, and also at the end how it ends up ranking in the entire catalog. Because I think you said it might be your least favorite Kiss record, but we'll see where it really all pans out.
We'll see.
Yep. So okay, so Eric Carr ends up tragically passing away at the age of 41, right? I think it was 41 in 1991. Same month.
Freddie Mercury.
Yep, same month that Freddie Mercury passed away. But of course, they are they're under contracts and obligations to continue their career and do what they do, and they end up getting Eric Singer in, which Eric had played with Paul did a brief solo tour prior to this. And so at any rate, Eric Singer comes into the band. First time they get a blonde guy in the band, which every Kiss fan knows that, but there it is. Anyway, this is considered by many to be one of the best Kiss albums ever made. And I'm not going to give away where it ranks to me in the overall catalog right now, but I will say I don't agree with that.
I will say I also do not agree with
that. I loved it when it came out, but this is one of the Kiss albums that has actually aged more. This album has not aged well to me, for whatever reason, and I think I know some of those reasons. So, but let's go ahead and start with the big picture, the sonics of it. It sounds incredible. I mean, it is an amazing sounding record. And, produced by Bob Ezrin, so they bring him back in, obviously from The Elder and Destroyer. But, it's weird because as great as this album sounds, and objectively speaking, I think it sounds a lot better than Hot in the Shade. But I don't think I like it any better sound-wise than Hot in the Shade. I actually kind of prefer the that kind of warmth and kind of dryness of Hot in the Shade, actually, to the really crisp, stellar sonics of Revenge. But there's no doubt that, I mean, it's mixed so well, it's balanced so well. There's, it is a great sounding record, just objectively speaking.
Yeah, it is.
And it does make me wonder, what would a song like, Street Giveth and the Street Taketh Away, what would it have sounded like if Bob Ezrin had produced it or something, but I like Hot in the Shade, so it's okay. And there's things about Revenge I like too, but one of the things I like is the way it sounds, but I just don't know. Yeah.
That's a fair point. It's a big production. It's not. I would say it's not like a typical Bob Ezrin sounding production. I think when I think of like more of a classic Bob Ezrin sound, I think about some of the earlier Alice Cooper records and like Destroyer, that kind of sound. But that's not what we get on Revenge. Like you said, Revenge is big. It's bold. It's crunchy. It's in your face. So.
I guess the question is it good in your face? And I
Yeah.
think some of it is great in your face, but some of it,
Well,
no.
we're talking about the songs. It's for me, some of the songs just are not there on this record. It has some really high points, and it's got some drivel on
So let
it.
me ask you, what's the highest score you gave a song on this record?
I give one song a 5.
Okay. I gave no songs a 5. In fact, I gave no songs a 4.5. I actually gave more 4.5s. Well, I gave 4.5s to several songs on Hot in the Shade. I didn't give any 4.5s to the songs on Revenge.
I, I
I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 4s, but yeah.
well, I have 1 5 and 2 4s.
Okay. And I also, well, let's start with that, and then we'll go to the low one. So I'm gonna guess one of you said you have 1 5 and two
Yep.
fours. One of
Mhm.
your 5 is Unholy.
That's correct.
Okay, I gave that a 4. I think it's a great song. I'm not necessarily always in the mood to listen to it. I think Bruce's guitar solo in it is phenomenal,
It
outstanding,
is.
and
Gene's
it's a
vocal.
great song. Gene's vocal, great song. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you had 1 5, and you said you had 2 4s.
Correct.
Oh, this is going to be tough. I'm going to guess that one of your 4s is Heart of Chrome.
Nope.
I was wrong.
Plus, it's a 3.5. Close.
Okay.
Close.
I'm going to guess that, I'm just going to ask you. Thou
Okay.
shalt not. Thou shalt not.
That is one of my 4s. That is
Okay.
correct.
That is also, I gave that a 4 as well.
Really good.
Yeah. And it's funny because I actually think Thou Shalt Not feels like a sequel to Street Giveth and Street Taketh Away.
It's gritty and dirty, and it's Gene doing what Gene does really, really well. It's a really good that is another really good vocal delivery from. It's kind of a
Yep.
sleazy song.
Yeah, but not sleazy in like the cringy
No,
bad sort of way that
no, no,
yeah,
no.
right.
Kind of dirty, gritty. Yeah,
Yeah, I actually agree. I think Unholy, I don't give it a 5, but that and Thou Shalt Not. I also gave Heart of Chrome a 4. I think Heart of Chrome is actually really, really good.
yeah,
It's
three
got,
and a half.
2 different melodies in the chorus, that are working together, which I think is actually really cool. And they converge at the end of the song, which I think is really, really cool. The lyric
Oh,
is dumb, but it's not so dumb. There's dumber Kiss lyrics out there than Heart of Chrome. Um, and I think that riff going into the guitar solo and then the solo itself with the wah and everything is a really, really great moment on the record. Um, so those are the songs I give the highest scores to: Unholy, Heart of Chrome, Thou Shalt Not. And on a good day, I'm going to give Paralyzed a 4 as well.
I give that a 3.5.
Yeah.
I gave God Gave Rock and Roll to You too a 4. I always like that song.
So
Um,
it was a rewrite in a sense.
Right.
um, from Argent. Russ Ballard had been a member of Argent, and
Right.
it's also worth noting that that's the last
Video.
recorded moment of Eric Carr, because he does some vocals in the breakdown,
Right.
the
And if I'm
acapella version.
he doesn't do the drums on the album, but he does on the video, and he does
Yeah,
sing on the. That's, yeah, and I
right.
believe in the video he's wearing a wig, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
is. He is. Which, interesting point of fact, Peter Criss's last appearance with Kiss before he left
The
was
video.
the video for Shandy, which of course he did not play drums on the recordings, it was Anton Fig. Eric Carr's last appearance with Kiss was in the video for God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too, which he didn't play the drums on, but he played in the videos. It's an interesting.
Yes, and I believe it's Anton Fig's birthday today. I believe so. So happy
Today.
birthday,
What do you know?
August 8th. I believe it's Anton Fig's birthday.
I I barely remember my own birthday, so props to
Well,
you for remembering those things.
yeah. Aside from those high points, and some, I gave one, two, three, four, five, one, two, three, four, six songs in this record on this album. I gave 3.5s to. So
Okay.
there's a lot of stuff in the middle of the road, and then there's one song that really drags it down. I think you know what song that is. We talked about it before. Um, but for that ranking, this record would
Well,
rate a little.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a few songs on here that kind of drag it down, but the one I'm gonna guess overall is Domino.
Oh yeah, Domino and I we don't get along. I have a hate relationship with Domino. The
What did you
video
give it?
one,
Okay, I gave it a 1.5,
you
and
know,
and
Gene can't remember the words. The video's stupid. It's a rip off. The music is a rip off. I think of a Black and Blue song. The title escapes me right now, but it's like he just ripped the song off. And it's just bad. It's just dumb.
well, you know, I just think it's boring.
Why?
Bum, 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 dun, 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 dun. It's just like, why?
Yeah,
Okay.
it really doesn't do much for me.
No,
And
and the lyric, I'm not even going to repeat, but there's a lyric in that is so so bad. It's like, how it how is a how how do you write a lyric that's that bad? That's I mean, how do you actually like take pen to paper and write the lyrics in Domino and look at that and go, yeah, I should actually sing that and put it on a record and put it out to the entire planet. I mean, it's just
yeah,
no, don't no. It's just stupid. So I agree with you. Domino is it's a skip. Just go past. I mean, I can listen to it if I'm doing something like, I don't know, rating the album, but generally speaking, I don't listen to it.
I don't need to listen to
Terrible
it.
selection for a video too, and they kept playing it live. It's like, God, are they playing this live because it's just easy to play? I mean, there is better stuff on this record, but there's also better stuff on this record that gets, I think, really dragged down by terrible lyrics. For example, Tough Love. I think
Hmm.
the music to Tough Love is fantastic. It's a
Yeah.
snaky riff, you know. The riff in the chorus is actually really kind of cool, but that whole "Grr, tough love," it's like that. How do you look yourself in the mirror and say that's the kind of song we need?
What I do like about it, and we've talked about this, it's Gene primarily in the chorus on a Paul Stanley song. I do like that when that happens.
Yeah,
I
okay.
do like,
Yeah,
like
I
that.
like that. Actually gave it a 3 because I like the music element of it so much. But
I give it a 3.5.
mm, that is one of the dumbest choruses they have ever recorded on any album. Period. And I know there's a lot of diehard Kiss fans out there to say that Revenge is one of the best albums they ever did. And God bless you if you love it and you love that song. You know, everybody can have their own opinion because music hits people differently, and that's great. It just doesn't work for me. Um, Spit is sort of the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Putting in the Star Spangled Banner into the solo, it's like, oh, Bruce, come on, you just did this brilliant solo on like on Unholy, and then that that is a little cringy. And the chorus is just a big ripoff of Whole Lot of Love, and then the lyric to the whole song is basically a ripoff of Big Bottom from Spinal Tap. But it kind of makes you wonder, and here's my question about the song Spit. It's so stupid. Is it almost them kind of like making like are they kind of like in on the joke on themselves at that point? Are they is that a song where they kind of go, yeah, we get it. This is pretty cornball.
I don't think so.
It's hard to know. It's hard to know. I actually like the music to Spit, but
Yeah,
again, just like with Tough Love, it's like the lyric, it's just God.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah. No, and then Every Time I Look at You, um,
So,
it's okay. I gave it a 2. I don't really think it's that great. It just sounds like, well, we got to do this obligatory ballad thing. And it's not that it's a bad song. It's like, okay, whatever, click. Um, I think it's interesting that Dick Wagner, you mentioned the old Alice Cooper, Dick Wagner, actually played the guitar solo on Every Time I Look at You. Did you know that?
I think I knew that.
Yeah. And, and he obviously Bob Ezrin brought him in to do the solo on Sweet Pain on Destroyer. But that's assuming that the Wikipedia entry on this is correct, folks. So, yeah. I also want to say that I Just Wanna. No, that,
Vinny, all
no.
right with Vinny.
What did you give I Just Wanna?
I give it 3.5.
Really? Okay, well, you and I disagree on that one because I gave that a 2, and I'm thinking I was generous. I think I Just Wanna sucks. I should probably give that a 1.
You don't have a body built for sin and an appetite for passion.
No, not really. And the lyric being, it's just, my note is unforgivably stupid. The play on the F-bomb
Oh, it's
is
dumb.
just dumb. I also the bridge.
Oh yeah,
To me, to my ear, they overdo the bridge with the acapella, the ahs that are underneath the lyric, I think clog it up, and they actually, to me, they sound whiny and
maybe
it's like
a little bit nasally.
it sounds nasally and whiny, like they're like, I just want to go out and play. I just
Yeah.
wanna. It's like
Back up,
like
baby.
like
Yeah.
we're full grown men writing this stuff, and then and it's worth noting. Okay, I know this has nothing to do with the songs, and it sounds like we're really bagging on Revenge, and in a way we are. But to prove how cool they were and to prove how tough they were, they had to be a little more gristly, and they had to grow some facial hair. And it's like this is their facial hair moment. This is like, hey folks, it's 1991. We're seeking revenge. We got goatees
And trench coats.
and it's like, and then Paul comes out with the pants that say, that have the, just like, oh my God. And when I was
A
a
shirt,
kid, it was like, yeah,
a
this is great.
shirt that has the F word on it with like the electrical tape that covers up the F.
It's
Dangerous.
like, this is like, but, and this is the era that everybody points to and says, yeah, man, that's when Kiss really kicked ass. No, I'm sorry. I disagree. Again, God love you if you love this record. I'm bagging on it partly because of this. It sounds so good, and some of the playing is outstanding. Bruce is on fire on this record in a lot of ways, but I just don't think it actually lives up to the sonics. The songs, I don't think, live up to the potential of the way the album sounds.
I would
And
agree.
I have felt that way for a long time about this record. So
I'll agree.
good.
We'll see.
We'll
Another
see.
another another great tour for this record. Another really good show. But yeah, to me, this is an album that a lot of people, and again, obviously you have your own opinion. I think a lot of people, in my judgment, overrate this record. It's
Yeah,
not as
I
as
will
good.
say, as far as the tour goes, I think generally speaking, in terms of the set list and everything, I agree with you. Good tour. Commercially, it was not a successful tour as Hot in the Shade, I don't believe. I think that they also, in terms of the stage production, they overdid it. You know, by playing Take It Off and having local dancers slash strippers come up on stage. No, that don't
Statue
do
of
that.
Liberty, off.
It's a little Motley Crue.
The Statue of Liberty giving you the finger. Did you like that? Was that a little
No,
cheesy?
I don't like. I think that's dumb. I think it's dumb. I think they were trying to come up with like, well, what's the next thing we can do? You know, with like Leon, you know, the Sphinx from Hot in the Shade, and it just doesn't work as well. I think Hot in the Shade was a brilliant tour. Revenge, I think they jumped the shark a little bit, but I think the set list, though, I mean, they played some great tunes.
Yeah.
You know, songs like Parasite, Watching You, they brought back on that tour. I saw that show 2 nights in a row, Ames and Cedar Rapids. So, you know, it was a great time. But I also want to say on Tough Love, uh,
Mhm.
no, sorry, not on Tough Love, on Take It Off. The riff at the end of the second chorus, down, 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 bow, bow. That's the same riff that's in You're All That I Want.
Yeah, and You're All That I Want is a much better song.
I agree. Much better song.
All
Um,
right.
yeah. Oh, it should be noted. Speaking of taking the song Take It Off, Kane Roberts co-wrote
Alice,
it,
Alice Cooper fame.
right? And Kevin Valentine played drums on that song. That's
There you
not
go.
Eric Singer. That's Kevin Valentine. So Kevin Valentine played drums on 2 songs, Hot and the Shady plays on Take It Off, on Revenge, and he ends up playing songs, all of the songs except for Into the
Yeah,
Void on Psycho Circus, but that's for a later episode.
the next
Um,
episode.
what's your thought on the Car Jam 1981 thing?
It's okay if you want to really listen to the song, listen to Breakout on Ace's for Early's Common album. It's a really good song. That's my take. This doesn't can't touch that. I think Breakout's phenomenal. Car Jam's okay.
I agree. I mean, it's great because it's actually Eric playing the drums, Eric Carr. It's recorded back in 91. Um,
81.
or what did I say?
91.
Oh yeah, 81. It was actually a demo. The demo was originally called Heaven,
Hmm.
and it was for the sessions they did actually, I believe, at Ace's studio, Ace in the Hole in Connecticut, and it's the original, I believe, is actually it's Eric Carr, Ace Frehley, and Bob Ezrin playing bass.
I think that's right.
And I do like Car Jam 81 quite a bit because it's Eric Carr actually playing you. It's like the final thing there. I think that when they added in Bruce's guitar solo, it's really good. And I think the centerpiece being that kind of drum solo element, I really like. So I actually gave that a high mark. But I agree with you. It's not a song per se. If you want that, go to Breakout, which is what it became on Fraley's Comet. So yeah. Okay. Now I think commercially this didn't hit what they wanted, and they start chasing trends. And it's like, okay, grunge is coming in. We got to be dour and angry at the world
Right.
and upset with things and et
Yeah.
cetera. So is this a good time to segue into Carnival of
Yeah.
Souls?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think Paul's kind of gone on record saying he was along for the ride. He was willing to do his part and contribute, but he really didn't agree with the direction on this.
That's right.
I think this album, like you were saying with Hot in the Shade, I think Carnival Soul sounds dull
Yeah, I
and
would agree.
kind of flat and
Yeah.
lifeless.
My
Uh,
notes say dry and dirty
Dry
production.
and yes, very dry. It's like, you know, just a smidge of reverb here, dude. A
Something to
little
spice.
chorus on the guitars or whatever. But that's what they were going for. So I mean, that's just a matter of taste.
Mhm.
For just in terms of the overall direction, uh, is it like from your perspective, are you like, well, I mean, they're doing something different, that's cool, or is it like, yeah, I'm glad they didn't pursue that very much? I
It's
mean,
kind
what?
of it's a little bit of both, but it's more like, guys, come on, be true to yourself. Quit chasing trends. Don't try to be like Soundgarden or Alice in Chains. It's really not you. It doesn't come off as genuine. Um, it's like they're just chasing something, and they're not really. It's like, what are we? Well, we got to try this, and they were a little bit like one step behind. Just
Yeah.
not there. It comes off as a little insincere. That said, that doesn't really shade my judgment as to the songs on the record, but they're kind of chasing something at this point, I think.
So,
That's all.
and I think that that's what's interesting about these four albums, because to me, with Crazy Nights, it seems like they're chasing the success of bands like Heart and Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
And with Revenge, it's kind of like, well, we're going back to our roots, but it's almost like a parody of themselves.
Hmm.
And so they're chasing something there. To me, Hot in the Shade actually seems like the most honest, like, well, we're just writing songs.
I agree.
And then you
I
get then you get this. This is almost like music from the Elder in a sense. It's like it's so left field. But whereas I think music from the Elder is actually a very underrated gem of an album. I mean, as a concept album, it's got some holes. But I mean I love music from the Elder.
hmm
Um, I don't I can't say I love Carnival of Souls. I like it. I
Yeah,
think there's some great moments on the record, but I don't know if I love the record, you know.
and I like it quite a bit. I don't love it.
So okay. So let's just start with low points.
Okay.
What's the lowest rated song you gave on Carnival of Souls?
I have four songs that I gave threes to, and nothing got lower than a three.
Okay, I have two songs that got twos.
Um, if I had to pick, like maybe probably my least favorite song on the album, which I still gave a three to, it'd probably be In My Head.
That's I gave that a two.
Because there's a nest,
That's my least favorite song.
there's a nest of termites glowing red in Gene's head.
And it's like, with lyrics like that,
It's just like, really?
yeah, that
Yeah.
it's yeah, it just I don't in my head, um,
It. I still gave it a
it
three.
sounds like Gene trying to be something that he's not to me.
Yeah, he's done better. I don't love it. I don't dislike it. It's just he's done better.
It's funny
It's just,
because in my notes I have nest of termites glowing red, just kind of dumb.
which I just said, and I just recited
Yeah,
the same
I know. That's why it's funny that's in my notes. Um,
kind of.
Paul does some backing vocals here and there in that song,
Hmm.
and I can't help get the feeling, that especially with Paul, it's like, okay, I'm playing a role here rather than being myself. Um, but he's a team player, so there you go. But I agree. In My Head is my least favorite song on the record. I gave it a two. I actually just
Um,
like it.
did you also give a two to Childhood's End? That's my other guess.
I gave that a two and a half.
Okay, so I was close
You're
because
you're
that would.
you're close. Yeah. The other song I gave a two to is Seduction of the Innocent, which I actually don't mind. It just goes nowhere.
I give that a three and a half. I quite like that song. I think that's just kind of and it's almost in a way it's Gene being just really subdued and that vocal, but it's kind of creepy. It's just kind of it's almost like got a Western feel to it.
I'm
It's just
making
different, Gene, and I kind of like that. I like that.
I'm making a note of what you're saying because I'm going to go back and listen to it again, just with some fresh ears on that. Because one of the things I like about these conversations is that you know you or when we've done the stuff with some of the other guys, you'll say something about a song and I'll be like, well, I haven't thought about it like that, and then I'll go back and listen to it, and sometimes I kind of like, no, I still think the same way. Other times I'm kind of like, no, I don't know. If we think about a song in a different way, maybe get something
Yeah.
else out of it. But yeah, it's never done a whole lot for me. Um, Childhood's End. The thing that bugs me about Childhood's End is I don't mind the song so much. I think it's a bit boring. It's not really my thing. What bothers me is like if you have a song that references childhood, why do you have to have this obligatory kids choir thing
Oh,
come in? It's like,
I know.
hey, this song has the word child in the title. We gotta have children sing on it. And it's like, can you just not be so
Predictable.
predictable? I don't know. Um, so what are the high points? What's the highest rating you gave a song on this record?
I have 3 5s and 3 4s.
Interesting, because I have no fives. I have one 4.5 and one 4.
Okay, I'll just tell you.
I'm gonna tell you right there. It sounds like you like this record on the whole better than I do.
I tell you. So here's my 3 5s.
Okay.
Master and
Oh, you gave a Master and Slave a 5?
Slave.
Okay.
What a killer slinky riff. That riff that's an amazing riff.
Mm-hmm.
In the Mirror, love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Love
Okay.
it. That bouncy, that riff, another hot riff from Paul. I assume that's Paul's riff. And I'm tipping my hat to Bruce Kulick. I Walk Alone. I
Yeah.
love that song. Bruce's one and only lead vocal. He does a
Mm-hmm.
good job on it. Great song. I love Gene's vocal on it and the backing vocals. I
Yeah.
love the music. I give that a 5. So those are my 3 5s. And my 3 4s are Hate,
No, no, no.
Rain.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
I think
so those
Paul's
are
got a great vocal on Rain.
outstanding.
Fantastic vocal. Yeah.
That's like probably as close as Kiss has ever gotten to Black Sabbath is Rain, probably.
Yeah. See, the thing is like if I'm really in the mood for this record, then my scores elevate. If I'm not really in the mood for this record, then they kind of sag a little bit. Because on a day when I'm in the mood for it, the song Rain, I could give a 4. I think when I was actually rating this, I was being maybe a little harsh on some of it. I agree with you, Master and Slave. I think, as a matter of fact, Rain and Master and Slave, those two songs back to back, I think are actually two of the best songs back to back on the record. Even though
Okay.
they're not my favorite songs on the record, I probably would give. I don't know how you can go wrong with Jungle.
No.
It's one of the longest songs they ever did. And it's Bruce does all the guitars on it. I think Jungle's a great song. Um, I also think It Never Goes Away is. It's funny because I gave that a 3. I probably could bump that up on
I
a
gave,
good day as
I
well. Yeah,
gave it
you gave it a
I gave
what?
it 3 now.
Yeah, okay. Because that's another song that the vocal Paul's vocal on It Never Goes Away is great. So even though Paul never really was on board with the direction of this record, and even though he's just kind of playing the role, so to speak, he's not phoning it in. I mean,
No.
his performances on this record are really, really good.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And I agree. In the Mirror is a really, really solid song. It just sounds like you just rated it's kind of funny. We kind of seem to like the same songs, but you just gave them a little bit higher grade. I think where we kind of disagree, I think Hate it's a little bit of a goofy song.
It's a little it feels to me a little bit forced. Like Gene's like, okay, I got to write a song kind of like this. I got to make a song that's really heavy. It's kind of like Unholy Part Two, right?
Yeah, yeah, but
I'm gonna deliver hate, but I kind of I like it. It's
yeah,
it's gritty,
yeah,
dirty, it's grimy,
yeah.
heavy.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. I gave Hate a 3, so yeah.
In full disclosure, this album was a lot of songs on this record was in circulation as a bootleg before it actually came out. So
Mhm.
we heard versions of this song before the record came out
Oh
too.
yeah.
I was pretty excited about it, obviously at the time, and then of course it kind of got shelved because of the reunion. But on the whole, I think this is a pretty solid record.
Yeah, it actually is. It's one of those records where I gotta be in the mood for it. And
I
that's the
gotta be
thing,
for it.
to me, songs that are in that 4.5 to 5 range are the songs where even if I'm not in the mood, and it just I hear it and it's like suddenly I'm in the mood. This album, it's like, well, if I'm not in the mood, it's not really going to click. But if I am in the mood, then it does click. And that's where my 3.5 and 4 star numbers kind of come in. So I dropped my pen. I don't know where my pen went. Okay, I guess I can't write any more notes while we're talking. But
Oh,
so are you ready to kind of just do a countdown
yeah,
of these 4 albums here?
sir.
All right, I am as well. I'll just kind of put.
And I'll give you my star average and my percent when we do this. It's kind of what we
Oh,
do.
you know what? Hang on, folks. I think I need my pen back. Where did it go? Well, you know what? Just have to do this without that. Okay, okay. So, well, okay. You know what? I got another writing utensil here. Um, so the and then and then okay. So if you are familiar with your standard grading scale, 90, 80, 70, 60 is an A, B, C, D, scale. That's typically in America how a lot of classes don't apply that to what we're talking about here. Um,
No,
so because we're dividing by the total. So if an album has 10 songs and you gave, your total number of points was, 80, don't think of it as like a B or whatever. It's just so, yeah. Um, because an album some of these albums are going to score kind of low in that if you think about it in terms of like, oh my gosh, that's like an F. It's like, no, it's not.
no, it doesn't work. They're not comparable.
It's just a different way. So like, for example, if you divide the total number of points by the total number of songs, it'll give you an idea of roughly what like your star average would be. Is it like a 3-star, 3.5, etc.? If you divide by the total number of points possible, it'll give you a percent. So for example, in the number 4 spot, for me, in the number 4 spot is Revenge.
For me, it's Hot in the Shade.
Ah, okay. And so for me, this was a 3-star album, which is a good album. It's not that, we bagged on it quite a bit. But it's not a terrible album. It's a good album. It came in at 55% for me. 3 stars, 55%.
And we round differently. I don't round quite the same way that you do. For me, this was 2.83 average. You don't give an album 2.8, but that's how it came out average. 2.83 stars, 56.67%. So
Yeah.
I it's a percent higher than you gave Revenge, but you gave it a 3 stars. I gave it 2.8. So it's close.
Okay.
They're close.
So that was the number 4 spot. In the number 3 spot is Crazy Nights.
Crazy Nights.
Okay. And this came out to me at 60.9%.
64.55%.
Ah, okay.
3.2 stars.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
In the number 2 spot, actually, for me was Carnival of Souls.
Revenge.
Oh.
3.42 stars, 68.33%.
63% and give it 3 stars. And then my number 1 of these 4 is actually Hot in the Shade.
My number 1 is Carnival of Souls. 3.83 stars, 76.67%.
So I do 3.5 stars at 68%. Yep. So of these 4, my favorite album is actually Hot in the Shade.
And mine's Carnival of Souls.
Yeah. So at any rate, folks, if you're a Kiss fan, if you like this era of Kiss, or if you don't, or whatever, and you're completely bored, feel free to throw some comments in. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us, but everybody's got their point of view, and everybody's got different ears, and we take in things differently, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Just a quick note, we kind of operate under a creative banner called Underlords of the Overworld, which is just a fancy way of saying a bunch of underdogs, because nobody knows who we are. We have professional jobs and just do creative stuff on the side. And we have a Bandcamp page, and we write and record music. And by and large, it's kind of been instrumental here and there. We've done a couple songs with Derek Sherinian, if you know that name. Not that he saw us out, the other way around. And to that point, he played on Kiss Alive 3 from the Revenge tour. So that was kind of cool. We also just recently did a song. We had Blaze Bailey do a vocal for us. So that's available on Bandcamp and on YouTube. All those songs are. If you want to check them out, that'd be great. We'd really appreciate it. And we also have a bass player who writes fiction, and he wrote a backstory. It's a multi-volume backstory. Volume 1 here is in my hands. It's called Origins of the Damned. It's about 99.9% hooey, as we might say, or fiction. And but it's a fun yarn if you like rock and roll stories, and if you like rock history and stuff like that. He's a really good writer, and he writes under the name H. Prescott Lemon, and you can find his stuff on Amazon. We'll put links below. But if you're interested in exploring the universe that floats around in our head, those are some places to do it. So we appreciate support. If you're still with us, please subscribe and give us a thought. So I don't know, Brent, last thoughts for you before we sign off here?
No, it's been a while since we did an episode. We'll be doing another Kiss episode probably later. So
yep. The next one will be the Psycho Circus, Sonic Boom, and Monster. And then after we do that, then we'll do an aggregate episode of all of the rankings of where all the Kiss albums fell. So yeah. Okay. That it then?
That's it.
Good to go. Okay. Thanks for checking us out. Until next time.